like 60s, kind of low 70s ish. I mean, there were 2 or 3 days where I walked around with a hoodie on and
Yeah.
voluntarily like put full jeans on, not just like capri pants, because.
Right, right.
But we were also had high wind advisories too. So,
So you had the wind there too. Okay.
mhm,
Okay.
yeah,
And today is a full moon. It's
oh,
the
that's right.
it's the snow moon. Go figure.
Ooh,
Yeah.
ooh.
And it peaks about 3 minutes before noon today. So we're in the high energy part of it.
Yeah, and it's funny because we were just talking yesterday, Lori and I, and Missy, who does some of our like jars with the really cool artwork and stuff on it. And I was like, oh, we should make these cute little flasky things that says like moon water and snow water. And, they're like, well, full moon. I'm like, get on it. Quick,
Yeah.
snap.
Right now, you don't have much time. Move it.
So some of our Facebook, there we go. So as we were going live, YouTube dropped out of our list and I had to go in and add it real quick. So here come our YouTube people. Because City was like, I can't find it. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, it should be popping back up. So there we go. So technicality, and it's not Mercury retrograde.
It is not. At
There
some
we go.
point, I
All of
don't
our
want
friends.
to have to blame it on the wind, but that's a possibility.
The wind blew away the YouTube connection.
That's right.
Hello, everybody. Yep, here comes our YouTube friends. They're popping in now. Sorry, guys. YouTube and our streaming just kind of blooped as we went live, and I had to go back in and add it in. So there's probably like a 15, 20 second, you know,
Delay there. Yeah.
listen. Yeah. Um, There we go. But all of our friends. Oh, Margie, since you're on, if you could send me an email, Lori and I, incidentally, we don't have your cards, and Lori wanted to get a hold of you. Um,
Yeah. What happened to her at the last Zoom? Why didn't she go to Columbus?
I don't know. Let's find out. Okay, thanks, Margie. Said yes, she'll come on. So all of our friends joining in. It's funny. We went from like ghost town to like pop, 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 pop.
Jeez.
The right side of the screen's just
Full.
popping in. Yep.
Okay.
Uh, no reason to panic. Amy's like, I couldn't find it. I was panicking. No, just
We're
YouTube.
here. You'll find us.
Yeah. And again, if for some reason you can't find it on YouTube, it's on both of our Facebook pages. So, and I now found how I can stream it to the store's Twitter even. So there's yet another place to find it, in case.
Just
So,
in case. You never know.
right. Oh, here we go. Adam says, Law of Abundance worked. We got to keep the beautiful black cat that came to our house. The landlord approved after saying no pets.
Oh,
Hey.
good. And see, it doesn't always have to be money.
Mhm.
That's nice, but it doesn't always have to be.
Speaking of, where's mine? Oh, he is. Which way do we need to lean? He's that little bloob, right back here on the
Oh,
bottom.
okay. Okay. Yep.
He's the bloob.
And
Uh,
they're on Ted's lap, my too.
so Amanda says Marianne would be the only one to see anybody at a ghost town. Kind of. Well, unless other people had the ability.
Well, yeah, I'm not the only one that can do this. I guess I got the biggest mouth. That's why everybody knows about it. But I'm sure there's other people that hide it. It's
Oh,
like, I
right.
don't tell anybody. Shh. So,
Well, and I learned from a very interesting lady while I was in Tucson. She was originally from Ireland, who moved to Britain, who taught British medicine to was it Japan, but now is currently living in Tombstone. Like I got her whole story just from going hello,
great.
right? And I'm like, oh, here's that whole people feel to tell you their story. I'm like all the time.
Yeah,
Um,
all the time.
but Tombstone's like an hour and a half from Tucson. And I'm like, really? Oh, really? And I'm like, note for Marianne.
Been there.
And now, how was Tombstone? Was it as haunted as they say?
There's a lot of places there, but you're talking the old West. So many people were killed back then. So, yeah, there are a lot of ghosts out West.
Okay. There, yeah, as Lori's like, there's Tombstone, and there was one other place too. And I'll have to ask her which place. And I'm like, maybe next year's Tucson trip is extended for
There
other
you
reasons.
go. Yeah, never know.
It will be warmer.
Yes,
You
it
cannot
will.
take a working warm vacation.
Right.
Let's see. And Jules, she says, I'm so looking forward to Madison Seminary. I booked the midnight ghost hunt.
All right.
So
Well, while
it
you're
is.
saying that, we need people to come to that. So sign up for that. We got the run of the place. Bring your cameras, bring your, what is it? Oh, Melissa? ESA.
Oh, your EVP recorders, your
Yep, if you want to do that. I mean, I don't, but you may want to. But, apparently you can get all kinds of good stuff there.
yes. We will it's going to be fun. So if you know anybody that would be interested, let them know. It's starting to fill up, and there's always a last minute rush, so don't wait too long. Laura said, I wasn't impressed with Tombstone, but Bisbee was pretty awesome.
That one I do not know.
I'm making note here. Let's see which one that one is. Laura, she's one of our local friends. She actually puts on the punk rock flea market every year, which is a fun event. So I'm going to pick her brain. So Crystal, I see that you're asking for help because you lost your mom, and so sorry. But Marianne is not a medium. So if you're looking for a mediumship reading, can't do that for you today. If you go to the store's website, you can book with a medium. And off the top of my head, what day of the month are we in? Maria Cerna would be there this weekend. And we have requests for the link for the Zoom already. So you can go.
There's still a few openings for this Monday, correct?
For the Zoom, yes, and for Saturday's talk on the 19th in person. But the talk in person, you can't tell them if they've got anything in their house because everybody will be at the store.
Right.
So there's the link for Zoom. Margie says the ghost hunts are too scary for her.
Well, I'm sure you have enough seeds to plaster all over yourself, Margie.
Let's see. Maybe this is where Lori was saying. Laura said Copper Queen Hotel is highly haunted. Bisbee is one of the haunted old west towns near the Arizona-Mexico border. So might have to do some Google mapping and distance tracking, and
I don't know. We'll see.
Events in Arizona for next year.
I don't know how close I'd like to get to a border right now of any state or country.
Okay, so Crystal says, I was wondering if she could tell me about my mom. I think she's here. And then Anne says, good morning. May I ask Marianne about the spirits in my laundry room? So Marianne cannot see into your house from here. You can see us. We cannot see you. This is where the Zoom comes into play. The Zoom is limited to the number of people that can participate. We keep it to 25 people. It's $20. It's not recorded. It's not going to be shown anywhere for anybody to go back and watch your business. So, consider joining a Zoom. We have, what do we say, about 8 spaces left for the 21st, which is a Monday night.
Right.
And then we've got a couple dates that we just talked about before we went live for March. Right.
And the first one will be on March 11th, Friday night, 7:30.
That's right. So
that one we won't even, we need to fill the Monday one first. So, but if you're in a hurry, definitely jump on Monday.
Yes. So, consider joining one of those, and Marianne can give you some help about what may or may not be going on in your home. Let's see. Oh, Karen says, my yellow cat knows your voices and rushed to listen to you both.
Oh, jeez. How cute is that?
And Amy says, yay for Adam. My black cat is worth more than any amount of money.
Oh, good.
They are. Let's see. So Joel says, twice with two friends dying of cancer, I had a visitation dream 1 week before they passed, coming with a message of love. Do you think their spirits are in both places before they pass? So have you heard of like how people are kind of in the process of dying, how they start kind of like astral traveling already?
Yeah, if they're in, if they had cancer, they were probably in a hospice situation. And yeah, you know, I hate to say they're astroplaning in that particular situation, but it's almost what it is. I think it's the matter of I'm never going to see them again. I have to see them. And I think if the will is strong enough, that doesn't surprise me because a lot of people say they get visitations from grandmas or grandpas. Honey, you're going to hear a call, but I'm okay. This type of thing. And so, yeah, I'm sure. And keep this in mind anybody with long lingering illnesses that die, they hardly ever stay, they always cross over.
Hmm. Oh, and see, this is kind of like what we were just talking about. Natalie says, my hubby's friend is in hospice, barely any brain function. Is his spirit still with him?
As long as there is any brain function, they do not consider them deceased. It has to be no brain activity before they call it. So, and yeah, he could already be out of his body. That's a possibility. Who knows the exact second you take your last breath?
Right. Well, and I mean, especially if it's been long and lingering and painful and you're kind of being drug along on machines, why
People
not get
do
out?
not want to be. I mean, I got called, not so much anymore, but I used to get called a lot for people on life support. They did not want to be on life support. They wanted to be taken off. Now, some of them are pretty smart. Before they were taken off, they wanted stuff taken out of their name, cars transferred over, safety boxes emptied. Some of
Mm,
them are pretty smart, but nobody wanted to stay hooked up.
yeah. Lornell says, hi, Marianne and Melissa. It's 6 p.m. here in Saudi. So that's like an 8 hour. I'm like, was it 8 or is it like 10? Every Wednesday, you are my partner during my second shift at work. Aw. If not busy, thank you for keeping us company. Still learning every time I come. Oh,
Good. That's our purpose here is ask questions and learn. The more you know about something, the less afraid of it you are.
mhm.
It's the unknown that you're scared of. Don't, you know, throw TV shows, movies, throw it out. That is not the kind of stuff you're going to see in, activity in your house.
Right. It's always so minimum. It's almost boring.
It
That's
is
why it's
almost
almost yeah,
boring.
nobody would
Not
watch.
to the people that's happening to, but for everybody else, it's like, ugh, here we go again. So
Oh, good question. Mimi says, I purchased a ticket for the Madison Seminary. Should I remove the Quincy charm I have pinned to my shirt? Actually, bra strap.
no, anybody that has your seed, wear it to any of these events. You don't want something from that seminary to follow you home. So absolutely. And remember, it only keeps them 3.5, 4 feet away from you. Your
Mm,
camera can take a picture of them 5 feet away. You don't have to be standing right next to them.
oh, right, right. Let's see. Oh, Brooke says, I went to Tombstone and it seemed to be very dead for dead. I'm sure there are some there, but not as many more than a public place.
And exactly right. Keep this in mind. Everything, well, is so far apart there. It's not like your neighbors are right next door to you. Yeah, and she's right. There's certain spots that are very, very haunted, and then there's some that one or two, just the normal run of the mill ghost.
Let's see. Oh, and Laura, you know what, Laura? I think it is Jerome. That sounds familiar. Laura is also filling us in other places in Arizona. It's like there's also Jerome, Arizona. The hotel there is an old hospital where over 9,000 people died.
Old hospitals are a really good place. I'll tell you, there's a lot of I won't say which one, but there is a very, very, very popular all-girls school
Mm.
that was a hospital before it was a school. And oh my gosh, the stuff that was in there was really bad.
Let's see. Patrick says, "Hey, Marianne, you mentioned before that Ted could astral project. When he is out of his body, can you see him in that form? Just curious because I've astral projected twice."
I cannot because he is not dead. Thank God. When he astroplanes, it's there's still part of him, obviously, that is here, so he can get back to his body, as you have figured out if you've done it twice. And but no, for me to see him in that form, he would have to not be breathing anymore. So
It's funny because part of the training, that we do for my shaman program is some astral projection work. And you actually kind of ask somebody, be like, hey, pay attention on Monday around 2. And at that time, the student is purposefully going and, but you're not telling them what you're doing. You're just like, pay attention to your surroundings. And it's to see, kind of what your energy or what your presence may look like, feel like, so some people, depending on the student, they saw like a certain kind of bird hanging around for an hour that never really left, or, almost like the energy lines. So it's kind of different. And I'm guaranteeing it's always going to be different depending on the person who's doing the work. I'm sure Ted, since he's so good at it and has been doing it for years, he may even be able to present the people almost in a full Ted form, somewhere.
someplace, yeah, yeah.
Um,
And don't you wonder sometimes or think about it because so many terms cross lines of things. And I wonder sometimes if people talk about a doppelganger, if they're really not seeing somebody that's astroplaning.
right, right.
That's
So,
a possibility too. There's too much that we don't know.
well, and there's so many possibilities, and
That's
they
right.
say like
That's right.
our human brain and consciousness can't process
That's right. That's right.
what's around us. So,
People will say this happens to me, and I just look at them and go, "Really?
right,
How
right.
did that happen?" It just even I question.
Hmm. Okay, so let's address this real quick. Amanda says astral traveling is not safe. A walk-in might show up and hijack your body while you're out. That's not how it works.
Not true, Amanda. Wherever you read, whatever book you read that in, rip that page out. Not true. You are not, I mean, it's as bad, and I'm sorry, it's as bad as Shirley MacLaine saying, when you astroplane, if you don't have the gold cord wrapped around your waist, you're never coming back to your body. Oh, give me a break.
Mhm. Yeah,
Please.
that's not how
No,
it works.
that is not true at all.
Let's see. Jules asks, at the seminary, will you be telling us about the ghosts you see around us so we can take pics?
I will.
Mhm.
You are going to walk around and tell me what you have seen and felt, and tell you what I see and felt, and let's see how many of them are the same.
Let's compare notes.
That's right.
Baylor says, do golden orbs mean anything?
No, because orbs can be any color, sparkly, big, small, any color at all, but they do have to be perfectly round. And again, if they are blank in the middle, it's a dust particle. If there's a design in the middle, then that is a presence that has crossed over and is visiting you.
Okay. Joe says, learning so much and you are less scared and worried, you start to understand more. So thank you, ladies, for what you do. Thank you.
Great. We're accomplishing what we're trying to do, Melissa. Thanks, Joe.
We're just not randomly BSing online.
That's right.
Oh, and looks like we have a new friend from Argentina. So hello.
Oh, wow. Welcome.
Oh, good question. Rebecca says, if a ghost sings, can we hear them? When my choir sings in church, we always hear extra voices, guardian angels, friends, and the light. I just wonder if we have any ghosts singing with us.
You probably do. I mean, it's funny. This afternoon, I'm going to go do a Catholic church, and that is actually one of the problems they're having. Apparently, the ghost in this church doesn't really like the singing, so he keeps messing with the organ. So there's a problem there. But yeah, absolutely. And Becky, thanks so much for that information. I didn't expect you to have to do so much work. I just thought it would be interesting for you, but thank you.
Let's see. Margie says, FYI, Marianne closed the portals January 10th, and on the 14th, we accepted an offer to sell. On February 2nd, it closed. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Almost 2 years dealing with this nightmare.
Thanks. And it proves it. That's why I'm on the Rolodex. I suppose I shouldn't say that anymore, huh? Probably not. Probably not. I have so many real estate offices. And here's a kid trying to figure out how to dial a rotary phone. And now, what's a Rolodex, Mom? Oh God.
Right. Let's see. We might have to do a whole thing and maybe just an extra podcast on astroplaning, because there's more questions about how safe and can demons get in, and
that's just not true.
Let's see. And other places. So like Melanie says, I think you would have fun at Moon River Brewery in Savannah, Georgia.
Here we go, Georgia again. She's never going to give up on that.
We're going to just have to go down to Georgia
one of these days.
Let's see. Oh, a new friend here. TT says, my mom died a few years ago. I miss her every day. I recently had a dream of seeing monks as ghosts in my house. My mom was beside me in the dream. The ghost monks scared me.
If they were in a dream, they are from the light. So you do not have to worry about it. Now, keep this in mind, though. If you have a really scary dream with somebody that you know that's in the dream, that's you having the dream about them. That is not them being in a dream. Monks, I think a lot of people, just because of the habits and the hoods and everything, can look like a bunch of scary group of people. But monks are usually pretty nice people, so I don't think you have to worry about it. I mean, if they were chasing you around with a knife, no. That was you having a dream about monks for some reason.
Right. Okay. So Jules says, I'm heading to Sedona for the first time in May. What are some of the most interesting and energetic places to visit? You know, and here's the thing. I've been going to Tucson, 5-6 years now. I have never bothered or wanted to go to Sedona, ever.
I got to tell you, I am not a Sedona fan either. Of course, I'm not a fan of the one in New York either. But
there's enough energy for me in the mountains around Tucson and out in that place. You know, that feels different to me. And I don't know, I could be just that stubborn person. Like, well, if everybody wants to go there, I don't. It's, to me, like, because so many people are going to be going there, it's going to be like just overran, and it's not going to be the same.
It's almost diluted because there's so many people there. It would be like me trying to clear 5 houses a day. It's ridiculous. I couldn't possibly do that physically or mentally, spiritually. And if you think about it, these people day in and day out have all these people flocking to Sedona. Now, Tara's been to Sedona, and Tara's the daughter that can do this. I got to tell you, she wasn't impressed either. She liked the pool, liked the warmth.
Right.
That was about it.
Yeah. There is, I think it's called Picho, because we were joking. I'm like, oh, it's like Pikachu. There is a pass that you drive through between Phoenix and Tucson, and it's my favorite. And it's just like these 2 mountains, and the one's a little bit higher. And, you know, the energy of those 2 are like my favorite. And then there's a certain part of the mountains in Tucson that when I look at it, I'm like, But I've never have wanted to drive to Sedona. Like there's not this pull. There's not for me. And I know there's some people that go out there and love it. It's just
Yeah, everybody is an individual. Maybe by somebody telling you you're going to love it, you're going to feel relaxed. Maybe that's programming you. I don't know. The energy you're talking about, and I think mountains are the Grand Pitons in St. Lucia. Oh my gosh, have no idea the energy. I mean, you can be on the beach looking up at these mountains, and the energy from there is that's in
Mhm.
the West Caribbean, and I'm sure there are other places like that.
Yeah. Well, and just like eventually I would one day want to get out and I'm seeing if I can pull up the picture real quick of that pass. To get down to Machu Picchu. And yes, I would love to see the ruins, but it's more because I want to be near that mountain Asagante. It's the mountain that I want to be in the presence of. The ruins are cool too, but I'm like, no, I want to go see Asagante. Um, and I think it's part of that Rainbow Mountains that when you see the pictures and they're all colored, and I've shown it to my shaman teacher, and I'm like, is this a part of it? He goes, yes. He goes, but that's one of the places that you have to be careful. They know the tourists are there, so it's very like tourists are known for being robbed and out on those
Right.
rainbow mountains. I'm like, well, just suck all the fun out of it.
Well, see, energy is going to be given to good people and bad people. Not, and if you think about this, how much energy do you think the nature sprites have from those mountains?
Hmm.
Big energy. Big.
Right. Well, and it's funny because one of his stories, is it Discovery Channel, has bought over the whole Machu Picchu thing. And they put in a rule that the native peoples were no longer allowed to do ceremony there. They were no longer allowed to give the offerings, to give the despachos, to give any of that. And during one of the visits, so many of the groups started getting really, really ill and presenting as like heart failure, heart attack. So they get a hold of some of the little Pacos and they're like, we don't know what to do. We're too high up in the mountain. We can't get to medical quick enough, blah, blah, blah. So they get a hold of them, and the one little guy's like, be right back. And he runs and goes and does something and, comes back and the guy is recovering. And they're like, what did you do? He goes, I divorced him from the mountain. And he's like, what do you mean? And, he was explaining because they are not allowed to come and give thanks and to give the ceremony and everything that energy is like, there's like this reciprocal. You got all these people coming and taking, but nobody's giving back now.
Back to it. Right.
So, unfortunately. So I'm not saying it's dangerous, but
No, and you just,
yeah.
you have to treat any of that stuff with respect. And I think that's it for what it can do and what it does do. Yeah,
Yeah.
beautiful. See?
So that's my favorite thing to drive through.
Yeah.
And somewhere on here, I have a picture from 2 years ago driving at early morning for the plane, and it was full moon, and the moon is over this guy here,
Okay.
But this right here is
Beautiful. Yeah.
more of what I would rather go spend my day with than Sedona. It's just me. But I know people who go out there and love it.
They love it. Yeah, I agree. I know 3 people that moved to Sedona because of it.
Mhm. Mhm.
They were all back within 8 years.
So Liz says, what do priests usually charge to do a house blessing? I'd like to know what to expect before I call so I don't sound like a boob.
You know what? A lot of them will say it's a donation. I don't know how many actually give you a set amount. So I think it's probably whatever you're comfortable with. I guess if it's your own church, it would behoove you to give a little extra, saying it's your pastor. But if it's, somebody else, personally, I would think the minimum would be 50, but I don't know. I mean, all they're going to do is come in and throw holy water around and say some prayers. It's not like there's somebody sitting down with you for an hour and a half telling you and asking you questions and telling you who's there.
It's not a very long, drawn out
It
process.
is not.
Yeah, so Denise says, I don't feel the energies, but I love Sedona for the red rocks, the geography, the peacefulness.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. Enjoy the nature of Sedona.
So Annie says, do spirits see each other, or is it possible for them to gather in one area, drawn to the energy, the emotion, but they don't seem to always know there's each other's, maybe timelines, vibrational. So how many can you get, and do they know that one another are there?
They are very aware of other spirits in the house. There's no doubt about it. The ones that absolutely all stay together in a group are children, because kids like kids, whether they're alive or dead. Adults, not so much. I don't know why, but if they are in close contact, it affects their energy somehow. And again, I don't know exactly what or how. So they don't sit around at night and play poker. But they definitely are aware of one another. Yeah. And it has nothing to do with different realms or nothing like that. It is just an energy thing. Like today, they have so much energy. Maybe today they could, say, hey Joe, how you doing, in the same room. But normally no.
And it would be cool. We need to remember to ask, kind of like how we were able to ask the portal ghost some of the questions, and later on, like, we should have thought to ask that.
And everybody does that. It's as soon as the ghost is gone, why didn't I ask this? That's the same thing everybody says.
So we're gonna have to make a list of things to inquire. And maybe we'll get to ask, some of them at the seminary, like, what is it like if two of you are in the same room? Is it a drain for you? Is it almost like opposites pushing, like, why exactly is this that they don't hang out in the same room? And
It's almost like don't we all know somebody alive that if we're with them for longer than 5 minutes, we've got a raging headache? It's probably the same thing with earthbound spirits.
And not to be confused, like, because you would think husband and wives, right? Or married partners in general would want to stay around, provided that they liked one another in life at the end. But that's not always the case. Like, they can't hang around one another, right?
Right.
So,
it's just not good for them to do that, right?
Okay, so I thought the moon was over that mountain, but it was actually next to it. Now, forgive the little bit of blurriness because I was doing a no-no and I was driving while taking that picture to the airport.
Oh yeah, pretty. You can see it up there, right?
Yeah, Brooke was like, just that picture has energy. It does. And that's when I know I'm like home when I'm going, because at some point I'm going to be living in Tucson part-time. So it's funny. I can be on my phone or reading a book and I'll know and I'll feel when I'm getting close to that. And then Lori pointed out to me that right on the, what would that be, the south side, is the airport graveyard. So all of the planes that go out of commission, regardless of the airline, and, this is where they dump the planes. And if you look way off to the left, you just see them lined up in the desert. And I'm like, why are they not scrapping that metal and reusing that metal? Probably a safety issue. Is it weak?
Right.
But I'm like,
seriously, there's no ghosts around that. I've been to no, because there's no energy there. But you're right. It's like, what a waste. They can, redo everything else. Why can't they do those?
Yeah, there's got to be something we can do with it besides littering, up the desert with,
right,
airplanes sticking out of commission.
Right.
So. Amanda says, why does Marianne keep saying we shouldn't throw holy water around?
It makes earthbound spirits really angry when a person that is not an ordained priest or minister throws holy water around. Doesn't make any difference when your priest or your minister comes in, or your shaman, or whoever that is, he has the credentials. But a regular person, no, does not It just makes them angry for some reason.
So Dawn said it probably pisses them off, and then Amanda says it should work like smudging.
It does not. It works the exact opposite of smudging. And that's why some people say, oh, it's terrible. I even threw holy water around. Or I made my kid drink holy water, which I can't believe parents even do that. But they do. I've heard that so many times in my lifetime so far. It's like, do you know where that holy water came from? Ugh.
To me, to go around, I mean, if you're an ordained minister of sorts or priest, a real one, not just, I printed this paper from the internet, but it's kind of, for me, it's kind of like stolen valor. Why are you walking around with something you didn't earn the right to use?
Good point.
So,
Perfect.
You are not ordained. You don't carry that same significance or the power associated with that tool. Because in this case, it is a tool.
That's right.
So, if I'm your ghost and you're throwing holy water at me.
Yeah, forget it. Or screaming at them, get out. You just gave them so much energy by talking to them. Totally ignore them.
There is one ghost show where the main guy goes around yelling and screaming. I'm like, why are you roid raging at the ghost? Would you do this in person? Are you that big of a man in life to go around? I'm waiting for him to get pushed down some stairs. I honestly.
Well, remember, they can't kill you, but they could distract him enough where he trips and he falls down. That's for sure.
I'm like, why are you so angry? Why? Let's see. Coins and Ghouls says, can spirits draw energy from the environment like thunderstorms? We know that they can on the full moon, but what about the thunderstorms, hurricanes?
That I don't believe so. I won't say no for sure, but I sort of doubt it. But definitely phases of the moon absolutely affects them.
Let's see. So Linda says, if you're wearing a quince seed at a funeral and want to speak to the spirit, wouldn't the seed repel them? And at what age should a child start wearing a seed and why? Thank you.
No, a person at a funeral is not officially stuck. They have their white light. The seed is only going to work if they stick around after their white light disappears. A child, everybody, whether you believe it or not, has got a guardian angel. And kids definitely don't need. Now, there are some circumstances if you've got children that spend 3 days a week with your partner and then they're with you 4 days and then it's 3 days and 4 days and there's something going on at the other parent's house. In some instances, yeah, a kid should probably have a seed on them. But under normal circumstances, no. I've already suggested a parent put a seed on a child that is very, very aware of ghosts, could see him in school, could see him waiting for the school bus. Yeah, that kid needs some protection. But that's not normal. Usually when kids hit 5, 6, 7, they don't see them anymore. So no, kids really don't need them.
Chewing Gum says, do you think people get to choose if they become a ghost or do they just becoming in the afterlife?
It is definitely a choice. You have free will when you're alive. You have free will when you're dead. If you do not want to go into that light, you do not have to go.
And Adam says there's plenty of ghosts around the planes at the Air Force Museum in Dayton. The energy I felt in the Vietnam area was overwhelming.
Yes. And my husband was in Vietnam and same thing. We've been to the museum there. But any museum that have New York, Washington, D.C., the Aero Museum there, any of those, definitely. And it's not so much that they're attached to the items that are in the museums, but more the crowds of people that are in the museums. And I'm sure it happened to you like it did to my husband. Just seeing those planes just brought back memories of what went on back then. And so any ghosts that are there are getting a lot of energy.
Michelle asked, do phases of the moon affect astral plane? Like make it easier or anything?
No, I don't believe so. I think it can be done any day of the month.
Let's see. So Valor says, as for priests and clergy go, I'm sure they have no monopoly on holiness. And holiness is usually only referred to Christian religions. And Stolar Valor. Stolen Valor are people who will go around claiming to be service members who aren't. Is it ghost look? Is it ghosts? I'm not sure what that last question means. But the whole point of what we're saying is if you are not somebody who wields holy water as a certified priest, minister, clergy person, what have you, you're kind of like an untrained person with a weapon. You know, nobody's going to take this seriously, because what makes holy water so effective is the thought and the energy put into it. So, you know, if you are not a holy person, you're like a little kid running around with a sword. You know, you're not really going to do anything but maybe put a hole in the wall.
Yeah.
So,
Makes a difference.
Mm-hmm. Coins and Gold says, does your spirit family grow as you meet new people throughout this life or in future lives?
Oh, I would imagine, spirits, I'm assuming you're talking about spirits that have crossed over. And yes, because you've always got your spirit guides with you, and then relatives and friends that have died, crossed over, come back and forth and visit. So, sure. And I'm sure that some of these people even have ghosts from past lives that can still be around them too. So, of course.
Mm-hmm. This could be a fun debate coming up.
Oh, boy.
Michelle says, I don't get how you have a choice about going into the light because God has to give you your judgment when you die. Your thoughts?
You're sitting at your kitchen table, you're having a cup of coffee, and you decide that you have had it and you're going to go rob a bank, which is wrong. Now, you made that decision to go rob a bank. You make decisions your whole life to be good or bad. And let's face it, sometimes it's so much fun to be bad. But it's harder to be good sometimes. And, you don't make your first communion, your first confession, until you hit the age of reason, which is apparently 7 or in that general area. Mm-hmm. And so when you die, you don't lose that. I'm going to stick with my husband. I'm going to stay to watch my children. I don't want to see my ex-husband in wherever he's at. There's all kinds of reasons why people don't cross over. It sounds like you're religious. You know that Catholics weren't even allowed to be buried in a Catholic cemetery if they committed suicide. Why would they ever go to the light to go to hell? So, yes, you have free will. Some people are very content making that choice not to go to the light. They don't even want me to make it for them to go. But there are others that are so sorry they did not go when they had the opportunity.
Mm-hmm. Well, and this could open up this whole debate about your God is not my God, is not Susie's God, is not John's God.
My opinion on that is there's one God, and he's just got a bunch of names. Mm-hmm. Why is one religion or one sect of people better or worse than another? Please. Mm-hmm. There's good and bad in every nationality, religion, whatever. Nothing is 100% perfect.
Right. And then there's some that, that whole I am you, you are me, and you are part of God. So if you choose not to go in there, then God chose for you not to go in there. Like,
that's right.
Go in so many directions with that.
That's right.
Let's see. So Slosh says, so if you don't go into the light when you die, can you go on your own later?
You can. All you have to do is go to a funeral home that has a service going on. And that person that is having the service is standing at the foot of their casket. There's a white light around them. That is not an individual light. That's a universal light. So when you made the choice not to go to the light, now you want to go, walk into that light, and you'll just be exactly where you need to be.
Patrick asked if you ever been to Auschwitz.
No, I have not, but I've been to the Jewish Museum in Cleveland. I can't be in there for very long. It's really overpowering. So yeah, it's like when I saw the Titanic display that they brought to this area, and when I went to Oklahoma to where all uh, those kids got killed.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, it's yeah, no, it's bad. I think it was Oklahoma that had just a room filled with the kids' shoes that they were blown out of. No, can't do that. Just too much.
So where was this? Somebody asked or said that they thought that portals or those gateways were like hell, and they're not. They don't go to hell. Which, well, one definition of hell is being far away from God, being so far removed away from the Christian God that that is hell. So, kinda, but not really.
No, some people have called it purgatory, which it's not. It's and the problem is that everybody that is in a portal really did heinous things. I mean, they were really bad people. And it's like, and it's their choice. They have the choice to go to the light, but they chose not to. So, no, I've never found a good person come out of a portal. The closest thing, and I hate to say people are heinous, but there are some people in there that have come out of a portal that were suicides. And I put them in a different little bit of a category because I truly believe that if you kill yourself, you're mentally ill or you wouldn't have done it. And so, but everybody else between the murderers and the rapists and the child pedophiles and bad, really bad people.
I kind of lump all of the portal spirits are people with so much fear about going in. Well, like Clarence.
Mm-hmm.
He was like dead set in that belief that he cannot be forgiven.
Right.
No.
Or people don't want the retribution. I killed 14 people. I'm not going to go in there because I can still run around and do what I want and pop out of a portal and cause problems, and I don't have to go to hell. So some of them are never going to want to get out of the portal.
Right. And it comes down to the whole belief, like what are they believing and what is perpetuating and
right.
Right.
Interesting. The YouTube that I'm doing today is houses that I've done where ghosts have created horrible situations for people in these houses. And the interesting thing, out of every one that I'm talking about today, not one of these ghosts was from a portal. These were all people that just walked in through the front door, the patio door, or the garage. As long as the door is open, they're going to come in.
Speaking of letters, one of our friends, way in the beginning, and I was chuckling off to the side because I read the way she wrote the question, but it was like, when are you going to do another round of the WTF letters? Because they're so hilarious, she said.
Yeah, there's the stack is getting there. We're going to do this one, the one we did today, and I think next week I'm going to do bad ghosts in workplaces. Oh, that could create all kinds of problems.
Right. And I was going to mention, Marianne, I've gotten a couple emails from some of our friends to our podcast email with like pictures and videos. So we might want to decide which Wednesday we might want to show some of those.
Oh, yeah, that'd be good.
So, and I'll see if I can get them on an iPad and maybe have them available for Saturday too. Yeah, Evangela says, I love the what.
Yeah. Well, actually, it's funny. It's not here on the table. I just got a letter yesterday this guy wrote, and he says, and this is a WTF letter. I'm going to be waiting for you to read this one. So they know it before they mail them.
Let's see. Let me see. There's some inter chat between people on the platforms going on. What time are we at? Oh, it's almost 11 already.
Yeah.
So for anybody new, you put out your YouTube video at 5:30 every Wednesday. So on top of this, every Wednesday at 10 a.m. on your channel, you have an extra thing that goes out. So, and then on our channel on Thursdays, we do live sales with products and stuff like that. So there's 2 YouTube channels that you can go, subscribe to. Like, make sure you turn on the notifications so you get notified when we're going live. So YouTube will be like, hey, Melissa and Marianne are on.
Oh, and I know somebody right now, it says on my phone when you call that I'm not taking any out-of-state calls because I'm trying to play catch up. However, the snow helped because I was stuck in the house and I got to call back a lot of people. So I'm really whittling this down. But keep this in mind, anybody that's on Zoom, yes, if I've talked to you on Zoom, you can definitely leave a message for me. That doesn't include you because I've already started to work with you. This is, I'm not talking to any new people right now from out of state.
There we go. So get on those Zooms, guys, especially out of state.
Right.
Sadie says, I work at a school, and let me tell you the amount of tech problems people face in there, and I'm pretty sure it's got something to do with ghosts.
Yeah, and depending on the age of the kids at the school you're at, it's a very appropriate for preschool, elementary, middle, high, and college. Every one of them has issues, and it's usually with kids the same age as the kids that are being taught.
Oh, so Margie says, I went to sign up and it was full. So we have some space on the upcoming 21st. Alicia put the kids to bed and fell asleep with their daughter.
Oh, jeez.
We were wondering, like, where's
yeah, I wonder what happened to you.
Oh, and Cindy says it's an elementary school that she's working at, the tech problem.
Yeah, and those kids, I mean, think about what your elementary school kids did when they were that age. I mean, this is the same thing they're still going to do, and the teacher can't see them, so they can get away with all kinds of stuff.
Oh, the shenanigans.
Oh, there was a Catholic school that I did that had a couple of ghost nuns running around in there.
Still trying to keep order. Huh?
You never know. You just never know.
Let's see. So if you have pictures or videos and you want to try and send them in to us, let's see. Here is the email that you can send those to. And it says When Ghosts Speak Pod, because Marianne and I have a podcast that we kind of put episodes out here and there on. So you could actually look up When Ghosts Speak on everything but iTunes, because we could not get Apple to put that up for some reason. And I'm like, I think they have some sort of feelings. They feel some way about the title of this podcast.
Somebody up there is going, oh, no, I'll go to hell if we put this up.
Yeah.
But they don't believe in it, so it's okay.
Yeah. Because everything they told me to do to fix would never fix. And they're like, well, you got to do this process. And I'm like, I have done it for 3 others. No problem. This is the only one that it doesn't work for. Tell me why.
Yeah.
And I can never get a clear answer. And yeah.
It's okay.
But you can find it on Amazon, like everything but iTunes.
Is there enough of the pictures and the things that are coming in just to do a podcast together, maybe on that?
Possibly. I've got 3 pictures so far, and I think Margie says she could resend me that one from her front yard. I think
front
it was.
Yard. Yeah. I'll have to see what I've got. We may be able to do just a podcast just on that.
Okay. Yeah,
And we were going to do one from the store, weren't we? Maybe this is the one we should do from the store.
I think so. I think so. It's been a minute. Like, I don't even remember
You
2 weeks.
know, we come up with stuff and yes, no, maybe throw it out and then look at it again. So, you know what? We're talking to two crazy people here.
Let's see. Oh, and Brooke, yeah, I think it is on Audible too. So
Oh,
it's on so many things. I just cannot get iTunes to like, cooperate with me. So yeah, and Melanie says, when is the
and
next
I'm going to put this out there. I am trying to find a phone number for a man named Alex Collier that is referring me to people all over the world, not just the US, Australia, Japan, everywhere. If
Mhm.
somebody knows a contact that I can make for that man, would you send it to Melissa or send it someplace that I can see it? I would like to talk to this guy.
Yeah, I mean, he's sending a lot of people your way, but you're like, who is
I'm
this?
not sure who he is or what he does.
Hmm.
And most of the information he's giving people is right on, spot on. But there's a couple things he's told people too that it's not what I do. So he would. I think I would like to talk to him, but I just don't know how to find him.
Yeah. Um, yes, Adam. He said he sent his gnome pictures, and I do believe. Yep, I've got your email sitting right here. Um, so, oh,
That's what I have a lot of pictures of people that have gotten we folk.
we folk going. Yeah. Um, somewhere if I even unpacked it. So if you're familiar with Fort Campbell in Kentucky, there is an area called Back 40, and this is where they do a lot of field training. It's actually outside of gates. Is it 2 or gate 1? And wooded, all sorts of, where they go out in the field, all this fun stuff. And you have to be careful out there because there are unexploded things, so you can't always go wandering wherever you want. But out in that back way are old family cemeteries and stuff. So me and a couple friends, we would go out there at times. And one gentleman could kind of pick up and see things. And at one point he's like, take a picture over there. And I took it, and you can see the outline of a woman. And I'm like, where is that? And is that box ever unpacked from moving? But it was at the back corner of like some old family cemetery. And our military does have the respect that they would kind of close those off so they're not running through the cemeteries, but everything around it's fair game, just not.
Right there, right. No, I actually, from pictures that people took, like I would, and I still tell people, if I'm going to come and do your house, if you want to try to take a picture, have a camera there. I tell them what kind, and, we can try. I'll tell you where they're standing and snap away. And I ended up with an album of probably 40 or 50 pictures.
Okay.
And years ago, when I would go to somebody's house, I would be done and I'd say, here, you want to look at these pictures? Well, that stopped because I could never get out of the house then. So it was like, I had to explain every one. So that doesn't work anymore. But definitely, these pictures, and this is again something that we could show, on this podcast.
Yeah, so we can talk about it on the podcast, and then to be able to show the pictures, like we would have to do that separately since podcast is listening only.
Right.
So we'll have to. Yeah,
Oh.
podcast is listen only. So that might be better on a Wednesday, like one of these Wednesdays where I have them loaded up and ready to go.
Okay. All right.
So unless, and this is, I hate to say this out loud because this gives more work for me, but unless we made like an Instagram or something just for the podcast, and then we start.
Oh yeah, no. Let's just put that on the shelf for right now.
So this is going to be like a Wednesday.
Yeah. No, we'll pop it in on a Wednesday. That's a good idea.
Okay. So it looks like Raven might know Alex Collier. She says he is a reclusive man who is a contactee with the Palladians, and she's asking if that's how it's been spelled for you.
Yeah, that's the spelling of his name, correct. So if you could give
she
Melissa
says,
that information.
yeah, she says, I'm going to see if I can get a
Oh,
phone number.
thank you so much, Raven. I appreciate it.
So, oh, and Coinagles, I did see your new email come in. So, Coinagles has sent 2 emails with some stuff. So yeah, we've got a few things to show. So maybe not next Wednesday, maybe the Wednesday after. You know, 'cause you have
Yeah,
to pull them down
we have
and
to set
format.
them up and everything. How
Yeah.
about if today's only Wednesday, I will try to bring pictures to the shop on Saturday when I'm there to add to the collection so you can put them wherever they need to be. Right.
Okay. Okay.
So seriously, Saturday, if you're in town, come on out to the Goddess Elite and see me. Bring pictures. You know, it's fine. The beginning, you know, from like 4:30 till 5:30. You know, it's all free. Come up. I'll have all the products there, and then the talk starts. You know, around 6, and it goes till 7:30, 7:45. So nobody under 18 for the talk, however. So.
yeah, and there's a handful of spaces left for that talk. So if you're thinking about it, definitely go ahead
And
and
for
sign.
those of you that are waiting for weather, the weather is going to be fine on Saturday. So there
Mhm.
will be no issue for Saturday, which is really good.
Oh, and thank you, City and Julie Clusta like to do this for me. You know, make sure you like the video, guys, if you can. Subscribe, hit the notifications. Please do it on both channels if you can. Because if one ever fails, it'll be on the other one. And just like we also have it on all of our Facebook groups and platforms too. So just like today, YouTube dropped out for a quick second as we were going live, and it took a minute for it to reconnect. But everybody jumped over to Facebook and found us, you know, there. So we are in multiple platforms. But if you do subscribe to the channels and tell it to send you notifications, if you happen to forget, you will get a little bell notification that says, "Hey, they're live right now." So. Um, Dawn says, yes, people, come on, don't be shy. Smash that button for these ladies. Because the more that we get and the more friends that we gain on these, this is going to make it easier to know where we can go travel and do events outside of Ohio. So that's the thing. We love traveling. I like doing and planning the events and stuff, but it's got to be, it's got to at least pay for itself because there's cost involved. We have to put up the money up front for all these buildings, the costs, the insurances, and everything else. So there's cost involved, you know, to come out and do these events. So please spread the word and get your friends who might be interested to join us in our shenanigans because it's fun. But
Yeah, it is fun.
it is. I'm looking forward to Madison.
Right. Yeah, that's going to be interesting. We'll see.
Let's see. But yeah, make sure to join us. So we do have Madison coming up next month. We have the Merry-Go-Round Museum May 1st. That's our second time with that one. That one is fun, and that one is definitely full of some stuff.
People got great pictures from that Carousel Museum. Unbelievable.
Mm-hmm. And it'll be May, so weather should be, you know, nice.
We should be good in May. Yeah.
Up by Lake Erie, you can go, you know, hang out on Lake Erie after the event. It's pretty. But yeah, Marian, you got anything else before we?
Nope, I think we're good. I think we've got everything covered, and I guess we'll do it again next Wednesday.
That's right. Same ghost channel, same ghost time.
You got it.
All right. All right, everybody. Thank you.
Have a good week.
Bye-bye.